back here with another episode of Inside the 48, and today we are here with...
I'm Hardy Willis.
And what got you into filmmaking?
Well, I went to school for broadcasting, but mostly because I wanted to do sound for studio television or something like that. And I just I took an editing class, and because I've always been in love with sound and stuff like that, and I took an editing class, and we had to do a location shoot, and like the school's equipment was like, a Zoom recorder, handy recorder, and like a boom mic on a broom pole basically. And I was like, yeah, I totally love this. I could do this for pretty much ever. So I got the bug. Dropped some money on like a basic package kit and stuff, and then started, taking any kind of gig that would hire me.
So I've never interviewed anybody that did sound before for the 48. What did you said you started off with, what did you start off gear-wise so people can understand?
So, well, as far as the 48, so...
just personally, gear-wise.
Yeah, personally. Mm-hmm. Well, I started and I did a ton of research because I'm not a fan of spending money. But so I try to like see what I could do, because I had basically, after like graduating college, I had like $1,000 to play with. I was like, all right, how do we finagle this into a basic sound package, which didn't worked great, but I got like, I got a Zoom F4 recorder, which gave me like 6 tracks to play with. Well, at the time, 4 tracks to play with. And then I got myself like a basic boom pole and a blimp. And I got a Rode NTG2 shotgun microphone, and, a pair of, I think they were Audio-Technica headphones at the time. But they were like, I think they were open back headphones. They weren't fully, cans. And that's really what I rocked with for a long time. Just the boom, and I had a friend who I borrowed. He had a Rode Link lavalier transmitters that he'd let me borrow for free. And he's, a great guy, JC Rositas. He's a good friend of mine, producer and stuff. But yeah, so that was basically what I started out with, and I ran with that for honestly years until I had my own. I got my own Rode NTG or Rode Lynx, mm-hmm. Which worked for a good number of years. Because I only got them because like I could afford. I could get 2 of those for the amount I could pay for like a single Sennheiser, like G3 or G4 series. And I thought they sounded good enough. The range was limiting, of course, and then basically ran with that for as long as I could, adding things like I got Comtech IFBs along the way. I upgraded to like a Sennheiser 416 boom mic and a MKH50 Sennheiser. What else? There was like, I got some like Tentacle Sync lockbox, and then recently I've gotten to upgrade my entire package into to the Zaxcom Nova as my mixer, and having a bunch of ZMIT 3s or ZMT 3s or whatever, however anyone wants to say it, but micro lavalier packs.
That's what we use today?
That's what we're using today, yeah. Okay. And those have been phenomenal. Sorry. I couldn't be happier.
So if you had unlimited budget, what would your dream setup be?
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm very happy with my bag kit right now. Mm-hmm. I think I'd have another 4 lavaliers at least built in, mm-hmm. And
so for people that don't understand what a lavalier is, explain that.
So okay, so like a lavalier is technically the microphone, like which is just this thin wire with a tiny little capsule on the end that you hide on a person, or you have it clipped on the tie, and that's where it gets its name. But so, and you wire it, and for as far as wireless, there's wired and wireless, and obviously wired goes on a cord all the way to the mixer, whereas this goes to a transmitter that goes to a receiver that's on my end. And that way it gives the actor a lot more mobility and freedom to move around and be much farther away from me than I could do on a corded system.
Is that more difficult to learn? The first time you hook somebody up, did you have to learn hair brushing around and shirts and? There's
literally like 1,000 ways to skin the cat on this, and like it all depends on the different person. It depends on the costuming. Because like there's all these things you have to take into consider. I have done way more research on adhesives than I've ever thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's, and different fabrics make different noises. Like I like fabric. Like most sound guys will like fabrics that are like natural fibers, like wool or cotton or something like that. Those are nice. Whereas like if you have polyester or something like a starched like dress shirt or any kind of dress uniforms or anything like that, those are super loud, super noisy. Anything that's polyester is really loud. And then there's like, beards get like brushed into everything. Guys who have like extremely hairy chest, I totally get it. I do too. But like just the weirdest things you have to play around. Like I had a thing earlier this summer where like there was an actress who was really getting into this emotional scene, and like her heart rate had increased, and these lavaliers are so sensitive. Like I had like taped to like her sternum basically, and I could hear her heartbeat over her dialogue.
Wow.
And so I had to adjust things and make changes of things, and like. But there's like, there's ways to mock it up to where you can hide it in somebody's hair, or I've hidden a lavalier in a guy's beard once. Like, there's endless possibilities, because these things are so small. And they're gay, and I don't even have like really small ones. I've had pretty small ones, but like, there's some that are like the size of a pinhead that I can hide anywhere.
I didn't realize.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people don't realize how important sound is in film.
Yeah.
Sound can make or break. Like if you're watching, for me, if I'm watching a film and the sound is terrible, I'm just like, I'm just really not interested anymore.
Oh yeah. It can be a super jarring experience, and like I've been part of projects. Or there was like one project in particular where like I was just the boom up, I wasn't the mixer for it, but I went to the release of it and I listened to it, and it was like a theatrical release. We're in theaters, and like they have the great sound system to really bring this thing to life, and like I'm listening to it and it is not great, and it just like it just destroyed it for me. I was like, oh man, I don't even want my name on this, as a sound person. I mean, I wasn't the mixer even, and I just was like not into it.
So you learn then. You're like, okay, that sounded like crap, so I'm gonna do this next time.
Well, it wasn't really a whole lot I could do, because it wasn't. I was just the guy holding the microphone and making sure that's placed right. But like it was more like post-production had like really over-doctored it, and like the levels weren't quite right, and then they put like this campy music underneath. It was terrible, but
yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, you see a lot of what not to do in those situations, and there have been plenty of things where like like you put a lav on a person, it sounds fine, and then up to a point, and then and then like they do something gets knocked loose. Like I've had like lavaliers that just come off, and then you're like, and you gotta fix it. You gotta get up in there and reattach it. And that's why I had to do all that research into adhesives, because I need to know what's gonna last the longest. Because there's like super sweaty dudes who like just melt anything, and like or just and some things just don't stick to certain fabrics. So it's all like there's a lot of particularities to it and like making sure like mic placement with the boom is right. Like, oh, I can tell like I got off access for this one shot or something like that, where, you know, okay, for the next time he consistently is like shifting to his left foot for this line, so I have to be right on him when he gets to there. And you know, and it's just like, I mean, it is a learn as you go thing. And so like, yeah, I'm constantly learning. I don't think I'll ever stop learning. At least all the like much older, much more experienced elder mixers than me, they're constantly still learning because the technology keeps changing and everything. Like, I mean, some of the like understanding signal flow and all this, you know, all those, like, as long as you have that base kind of solid, everything's gonna be okay. But like, you know, you gotta learn these new technologies, learn how they all work. And you have to fight a lot of frequency issues these days because everything has Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or everything's putting off some kind of signal nowadays.
Or people have cell phones that are going to go.
Yeah. There's countless things. Or like we pick a location that's right next to a freaking radio tower, and you're like, well, that's too bad.
Or airplanes.
Yeah, or outside of like the sound things that we can actually hear. That we're talking like for the lavalier packs, you know, anything like there's so much to be learning nowadays, especially as like lavaliers go more digital. You gotta understand how 2.4 gigahertz stuff works and the problems you're going to intercept with those kind of things.
So with that being said,
yeah,
how difficult is it being a sound guy for a 48? Does it change because is it more pressure than a regular relaxed set?
Well, you know, I don't feel like it's a little bit more pressure, but like there's always a saying that like you know, the camera guy, the DP, whatever, you know, he only has to get it right once, but the sound guy has to get it right every time, because you never know when he's going to get that one right. And then once he's got it right, he's done, he's good. But I have to make sure I'm on top of my ball every freaking time.
What are some of the most annoying things that happen, like, for a 48?
For a 48,
when you're running sound,
I think some of the most annoying things is like when we're doing a ton, or at least like agonizing things, or like when we're doing a ton of like company moves or anything, and then like, you know, they release actors because the actors need to get to the next place so that they can start rehearsing or something, and they run off with like my wires attached to them still, and I'm just like, oh geez, I gotta get over there so I know that my stuff's okay, because they're probably in the car sitting on the pack or something like that, or just, you know, or like things like rolling on the rehearsal and then just say we're not rehearsing, like, you know, like, or I don't know. Sound wise, I mean, it's being being in sound, I guess, for film, you really gotta just kind of roll with the punches and just kind of be ready for, anticipate everybody and try to make friends with everyone so that, you know, people can give you favors and stuff like that. But
like when you're ready to roll, and then like these guys are not filming, so they're just over there and they're talking, but you can hear everything.
Of course.
They don't think you can hear everything.
No, yeah, and then, you know, we have to constantly be quiet on the set, and like, and I think one of the things that always gets like holds up anything that like people really hate, especially on 48s where every second matters, is they're like, okay, we're wrapped on this location, let's get moved on to the next thing. I'm like, blah, 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 we need room tone for everything, you know.
So how important is room tone, and what is room tone for people that don't understand what that is?
So room tone is kind of like a template of just the sounds of a room when there's nothing going on in it, or when you're outside and you just need the crickets creaking, or you're in a living room with a fireplace and you're the fire crackling. The idea is to, you know, if something changes and they need to adjust, like what's a good situation?
Like if you're in a kitchen and 4 of 5 takes, you had the refrigerator unplugged, and then you guys came back from lunch and left the refrigerator plugged in. Now there's a different tone.
Yes. Okay. There we go. Perfect. I love the refrigerator. So yeah. So like we plug the refrigerator back in before lunch so that we don't ruin all the food. And the next ones we do it. Then we're like, okay, we just need to get that in there with the with the refrigerator running. That way, the sound editor or just editor or wherever you're able have. They can put that in underneath everybody's dialogue so that it's this consistent, like, the refrigerator is running. It's not so, I mean, you can doctor it and you can kind of like do what you can to sound treat it a little bit, but you just have to accept that, you're going to have that sound in there. Or if the same thing with like, if you're outside and you need more traffic noises, you need to get some traffic noise to like kind of intercut between scenes so that it sounds like the same car is going by. Instead of him saying a line and you can hear this car going by, and then we cut to the next one and there's nothing and there's silence.
Do you do sound design as well? So somebody gets like they drop a can, so you have that sound of the can dropping. Or
not so much. I can help with parts. Like I'll do like as far as like any kind of post-production sound, I used to do more, but I really hate editing. But I do like I'll do like ADR recording. I have my own little home studio, and I have like and I'll do like Foley art as people need it.
Okay.
And things like that. As far as it's the recording side of post, I'm totally down to do it. But as far as like mixing and or post mixing and putting like soundtracks together, and I don't do any composing or music writing at all. I never had a knack for that, but so like but that's pretty much as far as post goes. But I'm pretty much just a production sound mixer.
So from a 48 point of view, is there anything from a sound guy's point of view that you would change about the 48?
About like the way the 48 is structured.
Just from your perspective, being on a team.
I think something that would be fun to throw in is if there was a sound bite that they'd have to fit into a script, like almost use it like it was a prop. I think that would be a really clever way to challenge a sound designer in post.
Like a cuckoo clock going in the background or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Or train or something.
Yeah, or just or have like there's a TV going off in the back or anything like here's a fire siren or something. I think that would be a cool thing to add from the sound design. But that would be my main thing.
What about any up and coming projects that you want to plug, or projects that you recently finished? Or anything?
So we recently just finished, How Not to Hide a Dead Body, and I think it's gonna come together really well, and it's gonna be I'll be really excited to see it. And then I don't think I have. I mean, I have other things, but I don't know if I have the rights to plug anything. So
I don't think we actually mentioned this either. The 48s that you did were where?
Right. Oh, I did the Chicago 48 Film Festival.
Okay. So not Columbus, not Cleveland, not Cincinnati, Chicago. So you're originally from Chicago?
I'm from outside Chicago. I live right across the border in Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if people wanted to get a hold of you, see maybe some of the films that you worked on, or do you have social media, how would they reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Facebook, Hardy Willis or Hardy Willis Sound LLC. And those will all have links to my website, and there'll be there's Instagram, which is popular. It's hardy.max.willis, and then my email is hardy.willis3@gmail.com.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time
to
talk with me.
Yeah.
Thanks.